which one of the two do you think has a higher score? Your score is calculated based off of your stats, and since the one on the right adds up to more total stats, you would think that having more total stats is going to net you more scores, but in reality, the one on the left is way better, and it's not even close. The idea behind 2-colored instead of 3 or 4-colored decks is that as long as you focus on pushing 2 trainings to very high levels, you will get a high score because higher stats increase scores exponentially. Hello everyone, my name is Charles. Welcome back to the Victoria Frontier. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to immediately get strong inspirations at launch, how to get high scores, and how to get past the stamina checks every time. Trust me, this is the video that you don't want to skip. Say you have rerolled for 1 Super Creek and are ready to start the game. Wonderful, the play button is right there, but we're not going to press on it just yet. Click on Race on the bottom right, click on Team Stadium, and you should be met with this screen. Click on Team Race, click on whatever. It doesn't matter if you win or lose it, just complete a round and you'll be good. Now, focus up. What I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. Finish up and back out to the Team Stadium menu. You should now see a button labeled Ranking. Click on it and you should be able to see the leaderboard. We are now looking to follow players who has support cards and factors that we can borrow from. Click on a guy and click on their info button. It should show their profile. You should be looking at 3 things now. If the follow button is grayed out, back out and look for another person. This is what we came for. We are trying to look for high level support cards, stamina, and power factors. Click on their parent, go to the inheritance tab, and only look at the blue factor. If it's stamina or power, follow the guy, no matter if it's 2 stars or 3 stars. Keep looking until you find 1 or 2 of these parents. At the same time, keep a lookout for these support cards and follow them as well. This method should suffice for the early game until some sort of database gets built. I'll also be making parents for you guys to borrow. You can find my player ID in the Victoria Frontier Discord, as well as share your own 3-star factors with the community. Now that we borrowed some parents and support cards, all that's left to do is to set an objective for your run. Contrary to popular belief, the ERA scenario is actually more of a passing point instead of a goal. Each run should have its own purpose for either a short-term or a long-term goal. Short-term goals can be as simple as hitting a new high score on your favorite character, or filling up an empty slot in your team stadium. Long-term goals depend on your personal ambition and dreams as a trainer. This could be something like collecting all trophies on a character, or taking home the gold on your favorite Uma Musume. My favorite way to play is to play as the underdog and surprise people with off-meta characters in PvP events. You have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want in this game. So for now, get comfortable with the ERA scenario and you can figure out what you want to do in the future. Before we set an objective for this run, let me explain what each of the stats do. Speed and stamina affects the top speed of the Uma and how long they can hold it for. Power affects how fast your Uma accelerates to top speed, as well as how they maneuver the course to get out of blockades. All you need to know about Guts is that it's a mini version of stamina, and all you need is 350. Wisdom affects your skill activation rates and some behind the scenes calculations, but is nowhere as important as speed, stamina, and power. Alright, we are now ready to start our first game. Pick the character you want to play, pick a set of inspirations for both sides, and remember to use the inspirations you just borrowed from the leaderboard. Your run should go much smoother if you have stamina factors. Try to always prioritize using stamina and power factors. When you're ready, click the button on the bottom and start the game. I'm going to be demonstrating this run with Maya Top Gun, which has a lot of long distance races. My goal will be to pass the ERA and get as much speed and stamina as I can. Maya has a stat bonus of 20% stamina and 10% guts. This bonus is a flat increase on your growth rate. Growth rates allow your character to bring 1 less of a specific card category. The best bonus is by far the speed and power bonus. Stamina can always be compensated with recovery skills, but speed and power cannot. If your character doesn't have speed bonus, you may need to bring an extra speed card. At the very beginning of a run, you want to push the bond gauge of all cards to the orange area so they can begin friendship training. Maximizing rounds for friendship training is a very core concept of Uma Musume. The earlier your cards activate, the more trainings you get out of them, and the more stats and growth you get. Here I'm going to introduce the concept of energy management and how it affects your decision making. 3 rounds into the game and we are presented with 2 options. Both the Stamina and Wisdom Training Facility has 2 support cards on it. We have around 60 energy, Wisdom Training will heal 5 energy, and Stamina Training will deduct 20 energy. Any training below the 50 energy mark will start to have fail rates. Most of the times, trainings with a fail rate of greater than 10% is usually not worth it. There's really no point in gambling for these high percentages to ruin your entire run. On the off chance you do win, oh for fuck's sake dude. Alright, let's come back to this scenario. If we go Stamina Training here, our next round of training will have a fail rate. Since it's the early game, there wouldn't be a chance of strong training appearing in the next round. We also want to avoid resting too much in the early game, because time wasted on resting is time wasted without training. In the very next round, I was awarded for my correct decision. There were 3 people on speed training, which allowed me to increase their bonds, as well as stall my rest for 1 extra round. Just by changing your mindset on how to manage your energy, you are able to fabricate 2 extra rounds out of thin air. You thought that was the end of it? Guess again. Remember what we said about growth rates in characters? Since Maya has an easier time in increasing her stamina, we'll want to raise the training facility level of the speed training so it's stronger when you step on it later. So, to recap, we are 3 rounds into the run, and by making a single different decision to press Wisdom over Stamina, we just gained 25 energy, 2 extra rounds of training, made 4 rounds of your future speed training stronger, and got you 21 bond, 18 speed, 8 power, and 11 wisdom. If you're enjoying the video and want more of this content, subscribe to the channel now for more tips and tricks like this. Your support is my motivation to make more educational content for Uma Musume Global. Motivation is actually a really important part of Uma Musume. You would want to keep it at the highest level for as long as you can, but sometimes it does drop. As long as you're not in the yellow, you're free to decide if you want to spend a round outing or go on without it. You may get random motivation ups from random events and races. I want to briefly talk about the stamina checkpoints. More than half the cast has one of these 2 races as their race objectives. Unlike most races where you could brute force with a high enough speed and power, these 2 super long distance races require you to have quite a bit of stamina to win. If you fail them, your run ends on the spot. A lot of people make the mistake of overcompensating their stamina to get past these objectives. But once they do get past, their stat looks like this, and they wonder why they can't seem to raise their high score. I've played these games before. This is like a canon event that happens to tens of thousands of players every time a new server launches. Even I have been a victim of this. The cycle ends here. I will not allow this to happen in Global again. The way you can immediately get around 100 to 150 stamina was to change your running strategy from a pace chaser to a late surger. That's all there is to it. You can always change your running style back later, but it's extremely important to get past this race to continue your run. We can still save as many players as we can. Share this video to your friends to get them past the stamina checkpoints. Along with all the other things I introduced in this video, you should be able to easily set a new high score. It's a little ambitious, but the inheritance guide will come out at 1k subs. If you haven't already, subscribe and join the Discord. I'm going to make a dedicated channel for every video from now on to answer all the questions and put all the extra information there. Enjoy your time on Global, and may all Oshi players burn bright with their prides and dreams in the global frontier. May the goddess of luck be always on your side. This is Charles of Victoria Frontier. I'll see you guys in the next video.